Good afternoon, everybody. Nicholas Hamblin here. Today I want to show you what I do for water on the pack. Here is a typical water source on a trail, and I am going to show you how I backflush, maintain my filter, and the tips and tricks that I use for filtering water and keeping hydrated on the pack. My equipment is very simple. I use a Life Straw inline filter. I prefer the Life Straw over all the others because you can disassemble it and maintain it, which means that you can dry it bone dry, and a dry surface is a clean surface. It comes with a carbon filter cartridge, which I try to keep as clean as I can. They last quite a while, but you're going to want to replace it eventually. One of my trail tips is on the clean water side, if you start to notice your seal get little bits on it, just bite the bullet and lick it in a pattern that goes with the seal. Not only will it help wet it, but it will also get all the little fine stuff that make the seal fail way early. A good blowout of the ends to make sure that there's no dust or debris on the rubber gasket seal will also ensure that it doesn't degrade near as fast. Eventually you do have to replace the grommets, but usually they will last long enough for the individual components that you just get a new one when you buy a replacement. This is a string filter, which means that it uses a bundle of tiny filament filters, which have small pores which only allow 0.01 micron material to make it through. Now, most all of your pathogens, say Giardia, beaver fever, I can't think of them all right now, but there's a lot, are larger than 0.01 microns and won't make it through the filter, but they will back up and clog along with other debris and dirt the dirty end of your filter. As you can see, this one needs another back flush. It's quite dirty, and I will go over that now. We use clean water to back flush our system. I like to remove the carbon element filter as it sits on the clean end anyway and shouldn't require much of any back flushing or maintenance, and will put the system back together without the carbon filter. Now, I have this mated with adapter tubes and male plugs so that with the least amount of gear I can mate my two water bags, one for filling, one for drinking, one clean, one dirty, or one dirty, one clean, whichever way you want to look at it, for filtering and cleaning. This disc, my bite valve, I have set up so that it disconnects and can be set aside while I insert the filter. Now this I'm going to put on the clean end as we have clean water in here. While I'm doing this, it's also nice to inspect your seals and other parts to see that no additional debris has collected, which can really make a problem later, especially if you're in a sandy environment. Oh, it could be a nightmare. So make sure you got a good seal on there. Now on my bags, I like to have a string attached to it already, just because it's easy to find a high place to hang it from. You'll just find a higher branch. This is going to sag a little bit, but I'll take it and I'll wrap it over the line twice, or as line is available. And you also want to keep in mind the distance of your tube to where you're going. Notice I hung this, not necessarily by accident, just above the ground so it hovers and back flushes and drains the contaminants that it's filtered out over the last several filter cycles. You'll notice that as it drips out, you can kind of brush some of the additional stuff off without forcing it back in the holes, as there's water coming out in one direction, which helps stop the accumulation of additional debris. Now I'm going to let that completely drain out and just use almost the rest of this. And then I'll use that for priming the filter of it, the filter bag. So while this is going, I'm going to collect some water in my usual method, which is just fill it up and dip it in. You want to try to do it as clean as possibly, because you don't want to get extra sediment and other debris. So I like to take my bag and do a scooping motion where it's cleanest. And I'm going to try to do this in a manner that you can see on film without falling into the water. You can see through the light that I didn't get any debris, and then it's a nice, good, clean capture. Always keep my towel handy because, well, it's always going to be a little moist. Try not to get things wet, but it's water. Leave that aside for now. Let's check the level that we got here. Yeah, we've got a good backflush, good flow coming out the bottom here. So I think we're ready for filtering. So I will let the water back up into here. As you want, 100 milliliters or so to fill the air gaps and everything with water, so there is no air gaps. That will ensure a siphon and allow the water to filter through quickly. So what I'll do here is insert the carbon filter as it keeps it nice and square for where it seats. Yeah, come on, cooperate. There we go. Oh, I have the wrong one. Haha. It won't go on if you have the wrong side. There you go. Then I take this, and now I'll lower it low and allow the air pressure or the water pressure above to filter in. One thing that can be done to help this is to put the other side on, swap positions, oops, for example, crikey. Fill this up with water, insert your carbon filters so that it can fill and saturate with water. It's clean water, so it's okay. Stick your end on. Now you'll notice this is now primed and flowing. So what we're going to do is swap sides. Put the full bag high and the empty bag low. Here, come on. There we go. Loop it over as high as you can without, with watching the line. I like to again wrap it around once or twice over the line so it locks it, and then tie a little cinch in it just so that it holds it in place. Now this should start filtering as there are no air bubbles or minimum air bubbles in here. Oops. Oh yeah, don't make this mistake. Plugging it in backwards. That's always embarrassing. That's a good way to get sick. So remember, dirty end, clean end, dirty end, clean end, dirty end, clean end. Yes, there we go. So this should filter off for a while. If you need to get some air bubbles out, what I like to do is hold this low so that you still have so that you have pressure on the dirty side. Loosen this up and remove it and allow that to let the water level rise like you primed it before. This will fix a lot of air bubble issues if in the middle of a run you get air bubbles stuck in there. One thing that can help speed it along is to squeeze the bag. Bubbles in the system will always be an issue. Another way to fix this is to squeeze water back the other way and help it discharge bubbles in the system. Well, I'm glad this is a difficult priming. It can show you a few tricks to get your water filter back up and running if it wants to not work very well. There we go, we're up and running. Should be about 10 minutes and all of this will be in there. I'll get back with you when that's finished. So here we're done. That didn't take so long, did it? Now I have a full bag of water to go on. Now, to finish up here, there's a few things to do. This here is now sucked completely dry, which is good. Take the hose off. Leave that hanging there for now, but we're going to switch it around back into drinking mode. But this side here is still kind of quasi-dirty. So what we're going to do is flip it around and back flush it for a few seconds with clean water. One, two, three, four. That gives enough time to make sure that water gets entirely through. Sometimes I'll even kick a little bubble in and watch it race down to tell me, yep, it's made it all the way out. So now we can remove this and insert our mouthpiece, our bite valve. And then proceed with cleaning this. On the dirty side, there's not much. I like to just flick out any extra water. On the clean side, we just have the carbon element and a little water to flick out here. For now, I'm just going to flick the water out, try to get it as dry as I can. As I'm using it every day, it's not a big deal. But if I'm going to go for any amount of time, I'm going to open it up, lay it out in the sun to dry it completely. The excess water in the carbon element, I just slurp out. Dries it up good enough. And there we go. It's ready for pack and go. Anyway, I hope that this helps everybody to see how easy it is to maintain clean water on the pack. LifeStraw is an amazing product. It works. It just works. I can't tell you some of the things I've had to pull water out of. Puddles, 4 feet wide, maybe 4 inches deep, with just dirt and silt. They've been sitting there a day since the last rain. Obviously, you don't want to pull from standing water like that, but sometimes, 1 day out of 7, you're going to have to. And that's just how it's going to be. And LifeStraw has gotten me through every single time without getting sick. These streams make it look easy. They run all over the place here in the Northwest. You start getting into the Midwest and they start getting harder and harder to find, which is where the standing water ends up being a lot of options. If you get large volume and it's not fettered, go for it. But a lot of them just have skunk in them, so just avoid those. But again, LifeStraw's gotten me through everything. Hope this helps everybody. Love you all. Have a great day, and caw.